Welcome to the garden. I'm Amarilys.
And I'm Luis. And here at the garden, we hope our listeners are able to encounter God's beauty even in the midst of life's battles and storms.
This is our first full episode, and it is titled Elisha.
So we are going to share what our last year has been like, and we'll talk to you about the journey we've been on and where we are in the midst of the healing.
Yeah. Before we start the journey of Elisha, we would like to give you guys a little background of who we are, our family dynamic, and such.
Yeah. So again, I'm Luis.
And I'm Amarilys.
And we are married. We've been married for the last 17 years, which has been awesome.
Yes.
If I don't say so myself. And we have two children, a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old, two boys. She's a boy mom.
Boy mom.
And we met each other in high school.
We did. We met each other in high school, my junior year, his sophomore year. But we were instant best friends. That's what I tell everybody because he couldn't get rid of me.
Yeah. And so it wasn't like your typical high school sweetheart story. But eventually we did end up looking at each other with the amorous googly eyes and eventually did get married 17 years ago.
He doesn't have amorous googly eyes.
Not usually. But ultimately, so that was, again, 17 years ago. So that was in years.
2008.
2008.
I know we're old.
I know. We're getting older. And so that's our family dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And so going into
2023, we had already tried having more kids for about, I want to say maybe 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And we had pretty much decided in our minds and in our hearts that we were done. Like, we're good. It hasn't happened. We really wanted more kids, but it just didn't happen. So we were okay. We went in that year saying it's okay. Like, it is well with my soul.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, after having attempted for so long, we'd kind of just gotten to a place where, despite having people around us saying, hey, it's going to happen, or even, feeling within us that it's something that God has spoken over us, we just gotten to the point where we're like, well, maybe that just wasn't something that was supposed to be happening in traditional means. We talked about things like, oh, are we supposed to foster? Are we supposed to adopt? And then we even, in 2023, we had said, well, the Lord had kind of put us in this place in community where we'd become shepherds and kind of walking with people in a like mentor, kind of a spiritual father, mother perspective. And so we thought, well, maybe that's what God's doing. He's giving us some spiritual kids instead of biological ones.
Yeah. And then, fast forward in beginning of 2024, end of 2023, I was told that I had to have surgery.
Yeah.
And they had found out that I apparently had some cysts. And so I was going to go into surgery January 2024. And that happened. And while I was under, this was a little scary for my husband and for my friends. They kept me under a lot longer than I was supposed to because they found that I apparently had endometriosis. And I didn't have the normal symptoms of everybody that has had endometriosis. Apparently it's very, very painful. And I never showed those symptoms. So they removed my left ovarian, ovary and my left fallopian tube. So yeah.
Yeah, and so that was a little concerning. Obviously, it took her a little longer, and then also just having to have that type of removal, and it was primarily due to some scarring because of the endometriosis. So long story short, we get past that. So she had some recovery time.
Yep.
That was associated with that procedure. And again, the recovery time was a little longer than it was supposed to have been anyway, because of the extra that had to be done. And again, we didn't really think much of it.
Nope.
So she goes back for the follow-up after the recovery period, and she got the all clear from her doctor that she could continue to resume wifely and husbandly duties.
That part.
Yeah, exactly. So we resumed.
We,
the Lord gives us the what's it called? Be fruitful and multiply, right?
Yeah. So yeah, and then we find out that was in February that we got the green light.
Yep.
And then we find out in March that I am pregnant.
Yeah. And so I guess kind of like a quick aside, for me, it's I don't really like to see her pregnant because I'm always worried about like her health and making sure that everything's good with her. I really don't like delivery because of that as well.
I've always had good pregnancies, though.
Up until that point. And I think the other big thing was I had already kind of turned that part of my mind and heart off that I was going to have another child. I feel like I'm one of those I create like systems almost in my life in order for me to live in, and one of them is I need to like carve out space in my heart and in my mind for each of the people that are part of my family. And I felt like I wasn't going to need to do that anymore, for the nuclear family, for those in my household. And then immediately when she comes out of the bathroom and she's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I know there was surprise.
I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Literally all I said was, I'm 39 and pregnant. I'm 39 and pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think it immediately became we can do this. So there was joy. There was kind of this feeling of, okay, we're having a baby,
Having a baby.
And again, she was indeed having a little existential crisis there where she was like, I'm 39 and having a baby. And I think I know there was definitely an embrace, and then it was like okay, what are we going to do now? So we had to turn on all those things that we had felt like we weren't going to have to do anymore.
Yeah.
Or have to I guess walk out any longer. And so yeah.
But our community was really, really excited with us.
Yes.
We took a month to make sure everything was okay.
Yes.
Really. And that's usually how we do whenever I get pregnant. We don't announce it immediately. We wait at least a month to make the announcement, and
just to be clear, it's not like an announcement necessarily to the general public, but it's typically, some closer people, and then that's our process.
Yeah.
And I'll also say, before we jump into that side of things, her OB was incredibly surprised at how quickly she became pregnant. Yeah, and how quickly we became pregnant, and
because of my age and the
fact
I just had.
Yep. The fact that she only had one working ovary, one working fallopian tube, etc.
Yeah.
But so it was kind of a surprise all around.
Absolutely.
So we told the boys.
Yes, we told the boys first.
Yep.
And they were excited.
Yeah.
They had been asking for a sibling for a while now.
For years. Yeah.
Kai wanted a girl. Silas really didn't. It didn't really matter.
Yeah.
He was just
wanted to be an older brother.
Be an older brother. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we let them know. They were excited. And then we did the public announcement.
Yes.
May 14th on my mother's birthday. Shout out to Vivian.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful thing. I feel like I know I had a lot of people messaging me like question mark, because all of us had the number, like we had 4 fingers up because our 4th child, and they just didn't understand because we had a child before our
our 12-year-old.
Our 12-year-old.
Yeah, so before our 12-year-old, we actually had another pregnancy, another child, and Angel. And we, we always, of course, us being Christian, we believe that life begins at conception. And so Angel was a very real human child that the Lord gave us.
Yes.
And despite the fact that we weren't able to see him come to, full birth and full maturity, we still hold that he was, and is our child.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so we're holding up number 4. And so that was a little confusing for some people, but obviously our family, we were holding it down. We knew exactly what we meant.
Yeah, we understood.
Yeah. So we make the announcement, right? And then I guess shortly thereafter,
we started the preparations, because I'm big on parties, big on hosting. So we started preparing for our gender reveal.
Yes, exactly. And that was an amazing time.
It was.
So we have the gender reveal. Do you have the date? It's in June.
It's in June.
Yeah. And so
June 8th.
June 8th. And it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. We were surrounded by friends and family. And it was on that day that we found out that we were having another son.
Yes. Yes.
Because apparently boy mom, right? Again.
Yes.
And quick aside, my father has only had one son and he has a bunch of daughters.
Yes.
And so it was like the inverse for us. We're like, okay, well, apparently another son.
All boys.
And so it was at that point where we revealed his name.
His name.
And so his name is
Elisha Cade Camilo.
Yes, Elisha Cade Camilo. And it was just it was beautiful, honestly. I say beautiful because I feel like that's such a good way of describing the rallying around of your community, the rallying around of your friends, your family that are so excited. When the reveal happened, I will say one person wasn't excited, and that was Kai, because Kai really, really, really wanted a daughter.
Yes.
Wanted a sister. He wanted us to have a daughter. But he got over it eventually.
Yeah.
But it was just an amazing time with friends and family. And then we're kind of riding a high, I think, at that point, just kind of so from a check-in perspective, I feel like we're really close to the people in our community. We are, we have people that we would consider friends that are like championing this season in our life.
Yeah.
And we're stepping into something that we'd wanted for a while, and then we had kind of turned off.
Yeah.
And we turned it back on, and the Lord seemed to have, to answer. And so I think that's where we are. And then was it 2 days later?
On Monday.
Yeah. So 2 days. So we have our gender reveal on Saturday, and then 2 days later on Monday, we get some news.
Yeah, we get some news. So I have my appointment with my OB, and she lets us know that there are some complications with the pregnancy. There is a big blood clot on top of my placenta, and it is obstructing the umbilical cord,
the connection,
the connection to the baby
and the
placenta. So Elisha is not growing as fast as he should. He is not receiving the nutrients that he needs. And yeah.
And so, we were probably up here, and then we started declining in the excitement turns from excitement, I would say, to worry, concern. I think some of the things that immediately we started discussing were, is he going to be okay? How can we help? What can we do? again, Amaryllis's OB was so great.
Yeah, she
just
was.
just an amazing person to speak to, and just she was very, very clearly on our side. And so that was an amazing part of it. But even with that being said, the sweetness started to sour, I would say.
Yeah, that's
And
a good way of putting it.
and so we started feeling that, we started tasting that. It didn't taste very, very good. Um, so we were eventually asked to go see a specialist.
Yes, my OB was amazing throughout the whole pregnancy. She found or not found, she has a colleague that is what was he specialized in? It was fetal.
I forgot what it was.
Yeah. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he was definitely the person we needed to see
Yes.
specifically for this.
Yes, definitely. So we go and he he lets us know that basically the same thing that our OB tells us, but he gives us a more we get a bigger picture of
Yeah.
it because we're actually able to see every appointment that we go to see this doctor. We're doing a ultrasound.
And it was like, I think they called it like
It was
stage 3
It's
or
like a
something like that.
3D.
Yeah.
So you could really see
Everything that
was happening.
Yeah.
So you could see the blood clot like right on top, and it was.
And you can also see, because they use Doppler technology, so you can actually see the restriction in the blood flow and
Yeah.
ultimately what it is that they wanted
Yeah.
versus what they were seeing.
Yeah. So so at this point we are going to see 2 doctors every week.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
2 doctors every week.
Yep.
So I believe on Mondays I would go to my OB, and then on Tuesdays I would go to see
The specialist.
the specialist.
Yeah, and so in speaking to both of them, we quickly find out that what we were dealing with is actually incredibly rare. So her OB had been practicing medicine for,
I want to say 25 years.
Yeah, so 25 years, and she's only seen it a handful of times. She said, or never seen it.
She'd
never seen it. And the specialist has been doing it even longer, and he's only seen it a handful of times.
This was his third time.
Third time. And so when we hear that, I think we started to just kind of feel even more like okay, so what are we going to do here? When something is rare in this way, it is not a positive thing from a medical perspective. And so I would say even more concern for Elisha's safety and his health. And around that time, as we were seeing them, there was also a concern that he may have spina bifida.
Yes.
And
that's
so
why we went.
Yeah.
That's why they sent us to the specialist, was to make sure that he didn't have the spina bifida.
Yeah. And so eventually we did get the all clear that he did not have spina bifida, but unfortunately we got the confirmation of this much rarer situation that was happening with the blood clot and where it was positioned on the placenta.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
Sigh.
Yeah, it's a lot. We'll pause and reflect. Selah moment.
My goodness.
So in the midst of all of this, our specialist said, "Hey, there's a specialist that you should potentially go see." And this is a guy who his specialty was actually to go in and do like fetal surgery.
Yes.
Placental surgery. And so it was really interesting because he was like, if there's anyone that I could tell you that potentially could do something that would be that could result in there being a more positive prognosis, it would be to go see this person.
Yeah.
So we found out about him, and he happened to be in Miami, which is about 4 hours away from where we are. And so we
packed up our kids and we went
to Miami.
We went to Miami. And so this specialist, like Luis said, he specializes in surgical procedures on fetal or the placenta, and it's through laser surgery. So in my mind, like my hope like skyrocketed. I was like, okay, this dude, he's done this before. I've read up on him. He has so many amazing stories, so many positive outcomes, right? And we get there, and
Well, I'll say this: it was just a
very
difficult trip.
It was very
So
difficult.
even just driving there, it was like full on storming.
Yes.
I mean, if you've never
Yes.
seen a Florida, like a strong Florida thunderstorm, that was the thing that we were driving through just to, for 4 out of the 4 hours, probably 2.5 of the 4 hours, we were driving through something like that. It seemed like it was following us, which was crazy. And then we get there, and it was actually a little hard to find where exactly the place was. And then, and we are unfamiliar with that area, so that kind of adds a little extra frustration. We also had our children with us, which there's the "I'm hungry," the how much longer, that type of thing. And then we're doing this alone. I think that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Not that, and I guess again, just as an aside, we know that we're being covered with prayer. We know that there are people that are there that we could call, etc. But for this trip, we were doing it alone, and so I think it was a lot. And then we finally get into the doctor's office, and we're actually a little later than we were supposed to be because of the circumstances. And when we get there, we are having insurance issues.
Yeah.
And so we had to deal with insurance issues and financial issues, and it was incredibly frustrating.
It was, yeah.
But when we finally do get to see him, again, he was a straight shooter, and it was amazing to be in front of someone like that, because he was just open and honest.
Yeah. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He basically told us if we can get Elisha to this amount of ounces, he'll survive. If you don't,
he won't.
He's not going to survive.
Yeah.
And yes, it sounds like really harsh, but at that moment, that's what we needed.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like it made me, not that my hope was totally gone, it kind of gave me hope. He's telling me directly, this is what you need. I'm like, okay, so that's what we're going to work for, you know? Like,
that's the goal.
That's the goal. So we have a goal. He gave us a goal, and we left there, I think, a little still disappointed.
Yeah.
But because we had the goal, I think it gave us a little bit more of a direction and I don't know, next steps.
I agree. And I think it was also giving us an opportunity to pray into specifics. And I think that was it. Like, we were like, okay, guys, it's not just, hey, continue to pray for blood clot on placenta, Elisha's health, and like blood flow, but now it's like, hey, we're going to pray specifically for a particular weight. Mm-hmm. You're like, hey, we need this many ounces. Yeah. And so that was the shift, I think. And so our time at that specialist was over, and we make plans to come back up to our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
In order for us to, so as I said earlier, we've stepped into kind of role as house church shepherds, and that just means that we have a group of people that we're running really closely with, doing church on a regular basis, that we're discipling and that we're responsible for. And so we had been doing that for a while, and there happened to be a house church shepherd retreat. That was scheduled
a day after we got back from Miami.
Exactly, a day after we got back. So we had our boys stay with my mother, and we made our way, we made our way to the house church shepherd retreat. And I would say that is a catalytic moment for everything. But I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, so we get to the retreat, and there is at one point we just have a time of prayer together, and just being able to be open and honest with each other. And I hear, there's a few people talking or whatever, and at this point I'm feeling angry. Like, I'm really, really angry. I don't understand why this is happening. I don't understand really why God is letting this happen. Like, that's the honest truth. Like, why is this happening? This is unfair. That's how I was feeling. This is unfair. I've never had any issues. This is my, fourth pregnancy. Yeah. But I've had two healthy boys, and I'm just angry.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody this. Everybody was at the shepherd's retreat heard this, and I just let them know. And it was a beautiful moment where the church was able to rally around me and support me and encourage me, and not just be like, oh, it's gonna be okay. No, they were angry with me.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I needed.
Yeah.
At that moment.
Yeah. And I think that that's what it was. It wasn't empty platitudes. It was, we're going to sit in this with you.
Yeah.
And in that moment, that's what we needed. We wanted and needed to sit in it. We needed to sit in the fact that things weren't lining up to what we wanted and what we expected and what we would hope for. And what we thought what this all meant for us, when we had to turn those feelings and those things on again. And at that retreat, we found people that were willing to hear it.
Yeah.
And then to sit in it with us. And that's one of those memories that we'll never, it'll always be with us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so we saw God in that, and I think that this is a good place where we could just say we've seen the Lord in these little places. Yes. As we're journeying through this. It's like, okay, well, he's still there. Or like, and I don't think it was one of those moments where we ever felt like he was not there, because of the fact that he kept showing his goodness through being covered in prayer, being sought out. Hey, even the grace in which people were able to operate with us when we were like, hey, look, this is how we feel, or at the retreat. And the retreat was just beautiful, and it was such a great place. It was a great was it 3 days? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just a 3 days where we were able to just like pause.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that to me, it was so needed in what we were walking and what we were doing. We needed the pause. And so again, seeing the Lord and all that was just beautiful. And so then the retreat's over.
I think it's like a week after the retreat, because it's beginning of August, right? So we have an appointment set for Tuesday.
Yes.
August 6th.
Yes.
To go see the specialist in Tampa, and we go in.
Yeah. Well, we actually, the funny thing is, so we were going to go in, we're traveling in there, and we thought, oh yeah, we actually had a friend of ours that actually just had surgery. And so we were like, okay, as soon as we're done with this appointment, this is around that area, we can go and check up on her.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. And then,
so that was kind of the thought in our heads. And then also, as we're driving up there.
Yeah. As we're driving, we're at the light to go into the office complex or whatever. Just what came to me was that Elisha, that the enemy wasn't going to have him.
Yeah.
That he was the Lord's, and the enemy couldn't take my joy away. That I remember that.
Yep.
That he was not going to take my joy away.
And so we went into the office after some prayer, and we sat, and I guess you can.
Yeah. The nurse comes in, and she's doing the ultrasound, and it was quicker than usual. That I did notice. She said, okay, go ahead and go to the bathroom and use the restroom to empty your bladder or whatever, so that basically they do that so you can see.
Yeah, you can see everything better.
So I did, and then when I came back, the nurse wasn't there yet. And then maybe a few minutes later, the doctor comes in and sits down and tells us that he um, he there was no heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in that, in that moment, it was really difficult to, I think it's still difficult to kind of put into words how it felt, but I would say it's almost like when you're a balloon and it just completely deflates. Um, I know for me, that was like it was like a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach, coupled with like how do I cover my wife? And how, what do we do from here?
Yeah.
And how did you feel?
I hmm, maybe like I was bringing my numb wall up. I cried.
Yeah.
Obviously. But just hearing the doctor talk was just like wah 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 wah.
Yeah.
I know he was telling us that we had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
That our he had already called my OB.
Yeah, she wanted us to meet
She wanted us to meet her at the hospital. So he was like, "You guys go from here directly to the hospital. She's gonna meet you there, and you're going to have to like go through the whole delivery."
Yeah. And so Dr. Angel, right? That was his name.
Yes.
Which is also one of those interesting things that the Lord
Yeah.
does, right? But Dr. Angel was amazing
Yes,
in how he handled all of it. They even said, "Hey, listen, if you guys want to go out the back room, so you don't have to see anybody that's in the waiting room," like
Yeah.
they're just sweet, beautiful people. And Lord, did we need to not see anybody else in that moment? So praise God for that.
Yeah.
In the moment, looking back, I see that and I say, wow, that's just another beautiful thing. But in the moment, I think I think we were just like autopilot at that point. It's like, okay, so this is the next thing we got to go and do. And
Looking back, like I feel like if I was looking at it through outside lens, like someone looking in, it was kind of like us rushing out of a building, like, and trying not to be like
like no paparazzi.
like no paparazzi.
Yeah.
It was very, very much like that.
Yeah, I agree. And then we got in the car, and I know we both broke down. And so then we made our way back to our town.
Yep.
At the local hospital.
I called my mom.
Yeah. And told her to meet us there.
Yeah.
Because of
she's been in every. She was there for Angel. She was there for Silas, Kai, and I wanted her there for Elisha.
Yeah. And so we find out that there definitely has to be a full delivery. And that's the reason why we needed to go to the hospital. And so we meet Amarilys' doctor over at the hospital. And she kind of lets us know what the next steps are going to be. And the hospital lets us know what the next steps are going to be. And, we're in a delivery room. We're treated in the same fashion that a live birth would be. And so eventually they start.
They induce me.
They induce you. They give you the medicines for the induction to start. And it's just a really like weird it's a weird feeling, weird situation. Um, it's interesting. We're walking through something that, in and of itself, I feel is kind of traumatic, right? It's, hey, your baby's potentially sick. Hey, your baby has an issue. Hey, there might be something going on. Oh, actually, the thing is that reproductively, there's an issue. Okay, well, now reproductively, it's a really rare issue, and that rare issue, only a few people have ever seen it ever. And oh, wait a minute, the specialist that could potentially help us is not going to be able to help us because he said if he tries to help us, he could actually harm the baby. So really, we're trying to go for this goal, and then we don't reach the goal, and instead we find out the news. But then we find out the news, and the news is like, okay, well, now you have to go to the hospital, and now here at the hospital you're going to have to endure this next process. And so it was like trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma for us. um and I think at this moment, it was, I don't know how to describe it.
Surreal.
Yeah, yeah, unreal.
Unreal. Unreal.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think for us it
unreal.
was like unreal that this is
Um,
where we were when just a few months ago we were celebrating with friends and family that our baby was named Elisha Cade, and he was going to be with us.
yeah.
So now the hospital process starts.
Yeah. So yeah, they induce me, and it takes a while. Um um because usually when you have contractions, the baby alive is helping, like whenever you have to push or anything like that. So it took overnight,
Yeah,
um me waking up with contractions. I was able to sleep a little bit here and there, but then I would get like really bad pain from the contractions, and then in the morning my OB comes in. Excuse me. My OB comes in, and she was getting me mad. Just procedures that she was doing was getting me mad. Um, but it got to the point where I actually was able to push, and Elisha was there.
yeah,
Him and the blood clot,
yeah,
which was wild.
yeah. And I think that was the other. So it was really, again, just not an ideal situation for Amarilys or myself. But obviously at this point, I'm all I care about is that my wife needs to be okay. Um, Again, her mom is there, and I love her mom more than I think when people are like, "Oh yeah, my mother-in-law," and like, there's all this mother-in-law stuff. My mother-in-law is an amazing woman, and I absolutely love her. Um, and we bonded over so many things. And it's just another thing that really just showed her heart, and I love her for that. But even in the midst of all that, like, it's so incredibly difficult to see. I mean, physical pain. It's not just labor pain, but also just physical pain for all the stuff that needed to happen in order for Elisha to his body to come out. And then on top of that, the doctor's like uh, just amazed at what ends up happening. The placenta and the size of the blood clot in the placenta was enormous. And so there was really no way. There was just no way that he was going to be able to get everything he needed. And it was very clear. And so I would say, as she's giving birth and then all this stuff happens, I think I would, my side of it, I guess the husband father side of it is, I'm seeing it all. And so I got to see the placenta, got to see the blood clot, got to see Elisha's body. Um, and that in and of itself is a trauma. Um, and so then while we're there, they wrap his body in a blanket, and they give him to Amarilys. And so,
Yeah, and then so I'm holding him, and um they're taking. My mom took a couple pictures.
Yeah.
Luis,
Yeah.
you took a couple pictures. And the nurse was like, doing whatever she was doing. And in my mind, I was, and this will sound, uh, not cruel, but rough. I just did not want him on me at that point. Um, the trauma that I went through to push him out and for him not to scream was the most traumatic for me. So for them to wrap him up and put him on me was very, very hard. And I was trying to be do the dutiful mommy thing, but no, like I did not want him on me.
Yeah.
So the nurse asked, "Oh, you want to keep him a little longer?" I was like, "No, you can take him." So I know, like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes you have to be, um, I don't know, a certain way in certain situations. But honestly, like, what do you do in those situations?
Yeah, and I think we've talked about it, and it's one of those places where they kind of put her in a weird position, and maybe it's the better choice is to ask what a mother wants before
Yeah.
the assumptions. And I think for both of us, it was really, we were happy when it was over,
Mm-hmm.
when those kind of those pieces were over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then as soon as they're taking him away, so Amaryllis's hardest point was definitely that. And again, that makes so much sense. As parents already, naturally, what you would expect is the cries of your baby, and we didn't hear it. The silence was deafening.
Yeah.
And then in the midst of all that, maybe 5 minutes later, I'm getting literature on which funeral homes could give me the best price.
Yeah.
And so for Amaryllis, the hardest point is not hearing the baby cry after she pushes out Elisha. And mine is now, hey, go make some phone calls to try to get the best deal to dispose of your child's body. And yeah, I know for sure. When I say trauma on top of trauma, I feel like it just kept happening, just layers. And
I
so
think that's one point in the hospital system that needs to be better. Like, people are in the hospital dealing with loss, dealing with surgery, so they're in pain, yet they expect them to deal with funeral homes or um, burial or whatever, and then also financial stuff, like immediately after the trauma that y'all just put us through.
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
No, I agree. I think that maybe some sort of advocacy program where you have advocates that can kind of come and be a little bit more involved with those types of things. And
Yeah.
that's a whole thing. But in that moment, we would have loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we would have, I feel like it would be a great thing to have somebody that did the calls for him, that he didn't have, like, yes, I'm the one that pushed him out, but he lost his baby too. It's his son, and they had no empathy towards that.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I think it was more, hey, these are the next things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I guess then what's it, the next day?
Yeah.
I'm making calls,
Yeah.
trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
And made arrangements. and then eventually we're released from the hospital, right? And so Vivian, again, her mom was with us the whole time. And then we get released, and it was as if life just had to start again. And case in point, our oldest son happened to have open house that same day that we were released.
Yep.
And so the option was, we had no option. It was a new school, new school year. And so we had to pull up our pants and
live.
go. And we didn't want to.
Mm-mm.
I know I didn't want to. We've talked about this. We don't, in that moment, obviously we needed to be parents for our kids, but we didn't want to be there. We didn't want to do all these things. We needed care. We needed care. And in the moment, it just felt like life was like, hey, too bad, you got to go. So we get past that week. And our family and our friends show up big.
Yeah.
They coordinate a meal train. They coordinate, hey, do you or do you not want people to stay around, or do you not want, do you want people to stay around? And, there is beauty in us being able to see how the Lord is using these people in our lives. And he starts the mending process through some of these people.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I immediately point to is that we received a card from from one of the families. And do you happen to have that? Yeah. We received a card from one of the families, and it was just such a timely reminder for me and for Amarilys that that we weren't doing this alone.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and read it? I don't know if I can get through it. So we get this card as they're delivering a meal for us that night, as part of the meal train, and this is what it said.
In a time where why can be such a huge question for everyone, and that question may never be answered, I like to think of what was the first thing Elisha saw? The most beautiful thing, the face of Jesus. We wish we could take even an ounce of your pain away. Please know you all are in our thoughts and prayers daily, and we are eager to do anything to help you through this most difficult time.
And just in that moment, it just felt like they get it. They understand. We've got people that we can walk with.
Yeah.
That the Lord sent these people. There's a whole God story behind how we even got connected with this particular family and how it all kind of came to be. But man, the Lord knew. And it happened just a few months before. And just the Lord knew. The Lord knew that this was going to be instrumental to the beginning of the healing process. And I'll tell you this, the healing process isn't something that, I say the healing process, and you might think to yourself, okay, that means that, in a couple of weeks you were good to go, or in a couple of, we're still healing. But we knew that the healing process, for me, I knew the healing process was possible, not just on my own or just with me and the Lord, but also with me, the Lord, and the people that he was setting up around me. And so I saw him in that. Obviously, seeing him in every meal that was delivered, seeing him in every visit that we had, seeing him in every call, every text, everything that we did get from those that were in that circle that reached out and are a part of it. But man, this just stood out to me because it was like, and they were knowing their story.
Yeah.
It felt like, man, the Lord's got us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything that kind of stood out to you in the midst of kind of that post hospital stay as we're,
So we have a friend, shout out to Rebecca.
yes.
She took care of all of the funeral stuff. So Lewis was able to call and make the arrangements, but she was the one that dealt with it afterwards. So pick up his ashes or drop off clothes
Mm-hmm.
because they needed clothes to give him more weight.
Yep.
So she dropped that off, and then she picked him up. Yep. And brought him to us and just dealt with.
Yeah, she communicated with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
definitely.
Yeah. And so just things like that, right? Where the Lord was answering prayers to the people that were around us. And so we knew that he was in the midst of it all. But as we walked around the house, as we tried to acclimate to what the new normal was, and as we tried to figure out how, I remember there was a time where, my wife and I both do music for the church, specifically praise and worship leaders. And there's usually not a day that I don't pick up an instrument and I sing something to the Lord. And throughout the process, I couldn't. And then I tried one day. And we tried one day. Yeah. And I will tell you, it was the most difficult thing for me to do. The wails that came out of my body when I tried to sing out to the Lord, the crying. I had never, as an adult, I had never cried that hard, that loudly, or that violently. It was so bad. I gave myself like asthma. And it was just such a telltale sign of the pain and the hurt that I feel like I hadn't been able to express throughout that process. Yeah. And so it all just came to a head and it just came out. And I remember that day very, very, very clearly. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you probably remember that.
Yeah.
But I remember that day. I also remember the pictures. So we have a picture of the sonogram. We have like these little clips and a bunch of different pictures. And there's a picture of a sonogram. And I'm just walking by it one day and it completely destroys me. I look at it and I'm just crying, just blubbering. Because as soon as I heard I was going to have a son, I was already thinking about, okay, who is he going to be when he gets older? What is it that's going to happen? Mm-hmm. What will be his dreams? What will be his personality? How is he going to flow with the other two knuckleheads that we have? And so it was very, very still raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the journey, the healing journey is going to be continual, because it took us a year in order for us to be able to actually do this episode.
Yeah.
I know it was brought up because our amazing community was able to rent us an Airbnb.
Yes.
In a little town here in Florida, Umatilla.
Yep.
And and on our way there, it was like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
And we just started talking about Elisha and what it would be like to share his story with everybody.
Yeah.
And the healing process that we had to go through.
Yeah.
And I think it's been beautiful. This year has been definitely hard, but it's been beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. We were on this trip. We're like, okay, so if it was not for Elisha, the garden would not exist.
That's right.
It's directly, and it's cool. It's like we're honoring a legacy that he started in that way.
Yeah.
The reality is Elisha was here.
Yes.
And he had impact in our lives.
Absolutely.
He had us turn on pieces in our hearts and in our minds that were off, And we thank the Lord for that. We thank the Lord that even in the midst of this loss and this pain and this trauma, that He's walked with us, that He's had people walk with us. He's shown His face time and time again.
Absolutely.
And even through this, going into this year, He spoke about us making sure that family was the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like the rawness of where we were just allowed us to just really lean in as to what He was saying.
Absolutely.
So we've seen the Lord in it, and we've seen family relationships get stronger. We've seen family dynamics just grow more Christ-centered, and we just feel like that's all rooted around us walking through this season where Elisha came, and the Lord walked us through the trauma of it not being the way we thought it was supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So, I guess the reason we really felt that we needed to share this story first is because, like I said earlier, the garden would not exist if it were not for Elisha Cade. And we're in this place where we're still walking with the Lord. We're still healing with the Lord. Things just aren't as tender and as raw. We were able to do this without boohooing and talk to us 7 months ago, and that probably wasn't going to be the case. But the reality is that the Lord held our hand, led us, and made it so that we could be where we are today to go ahead and share this story. And we feel stronger for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would we have wanted this? No. And we wouldn't wish it on anyone. But the Lord is faithful, and He is just. And He's been able to show us that we can trust Him, even when life doesn't look like what we want it to.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And if not, He is still good. Yeah.
So actually, and so it was inspired by that. We actually ended up getting some ink. You want to go ahead and just?
Yeah. It just says, and if not, He is still good. And we got it on the date that Elisha was supposed to
be born.
Yeah. November 14th.
Yes, November 14th. And that's what we stand on now. Even if it doesn't look like what we see, and if not, our God is still good.
He is still good.
And we want to just declare that over anyone that's hearing this today. You might be in your own valley. You might be in your own season of where it feels like it's just trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. And we just want to encourage you with the reality that even if it doesn't look like what you think it was supposed to look like, God is still good, and He's still there, and He's still working it out. And if you would just simply submit yourself to what He's doing and the process and look for Him in the details, I promise you, He is there. He loves you, and He cares enough to get you out of it.
Absolutely.
He probably cares even more that He's in it with you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that might be it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is Elisha's story.
All right. Awesome. So quick things. We're going to continue to have stories like this. We're going to continue to talk to other people. We're going to have different guests to different ministries, all of those types of things. All we need from our viewers and from our listeners is to, if this is striking a particular chord, if this is resonating with you at all, is to share, to like, to subscribe. You can find us at the Garden PC Podcast on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. You can see full-length episodes on YouTube and Spotify. And we have our own website, which is thegardenpcpodcast.com. So in any way that you would like to support, go ahead and do that. We're also going to have an email address coming online soon where it'll be contact@thegardenpcpodcast.com. Hopefully that will be up and operational by the end of this week. Do you have anything else that you would want to say?
No, I'm just excited that you guys allowed us into your homes and allowed us to speak of Elisha and share Elisha's story with you guys. One thing that I wanted from this podcast was that Elisha's story would live on. Like, he was here and he has a legacy. So thank you guys very much.
Yes. I guess there's only one last thing to say.
We'll
see you in the garden.
In the garden.
It's in the garden, right? We'll see you in the garden.